Hey, thanks so much for joining us for day one of the Accelerate Your Income 5-Day Challenge. This is really all about setting the foundations for your business that lead to making more money. I'm going to start with my slides and you will I'm going to share my little story, my gardening failure story, and then you'll understand more what I mean about the foundations. Okay, we already did that. Just a real quick introduction about Aviatra. So if you aren't familiar with Aviatra, our whole focus is on helping women get their businesses started and grow them and help them get funded if that's what they want. And the reason we do this is we believe so strongly that women should have use the path of entrepreneurship if that suits them to become financially independent. Even if it's just a side hustle, it still gives you that independence if something happened to your day job or the economy goes weird, weird again, you still have something that you can fall back on that is yours, that you're building. And so this is our team. I'm in the middle, obviously. Patrice is on the left and Jasmine is on the right. And we have a lot of volunteers that also make it happen. So here is my little brown thumb story. So we have this little space at the back of our backyard that I asked my husband, it was grass and the grass wasn't growing very well because there was some trees and stuff back there. So we took the grass out and I had these dreams. Have you guys heard of a chaos garden? Like it's this beautiful, colorful, chaotic mess of beautiful flowers, right? And that's what I wanted. I didn't want like a perfect garden. That's a little bit more than I think I could probably manage. But I thought, okay, I'll just scatter a bunch of seeds and see what happens. And so that's what I did. I scattered all these seeds. And this is what happened. I had one thing that bloomed. And I realized, Jill, if you really think about it, gardeners take some time to prepare the soil and they break up the clods, the clods of dirt. They put in fertilizer. They more intentionally scatter the seeds. They cover the seeds. They let the sun shine. They water it, right? Like all these things that I did not do. I was literally just throwing the seeds out going, well, maybe this will work. And I think that a lot of times we do that with our businesses. And I did that with my business. I've had 3 businesses now. My first business, I totally did this. You just scatter the seeds. You're like, I'm just going to start my business. And, sometimes you have some considerable success or sometimes you make some sales and you're thinking, okay, like my seeds are flowering, right? But by not getting this sort of foundational, let's call it like helping set the success of your garden up properly in the beginning, you're really keeping your garden from blooming. To carry the metaphor a little bit farther, you're keeping your garden from really blooming as well as it could. And so when I finally did that, the next year I went back and I really took care of, I really made some effort on the soil and all of that. And this was the garden the next year. And so you can see it's almost as tall as my husband. And it just really struck me as such an analogy for business. And I realized, this is what I realized, that a thriving business, just like with plants, starts below the surface. Those foundational actions and activities and thought work that we do and mindset work, those are so critical. And once we do those, we're really setting ourselves up for success. So that's what we're going to do in this whole challenge, is we're really going to focus on doing this sort of foundational work. And it doesn't matter when you started your business, you can always come back to do this. And so that's what we're going to do in this challenge. And it's really going to set you up for success. And once you get this stuff, I'm telling you, your income is going to grow. It can't not grow because you are doing the things that are going to lead to sales. So I wanted to share, this is an image of some of our $1 million business owners, alumni that came through our programs. And one of the things that I like to think about is what are these women doing that somebody who has not yet hit $1 million, if that's their goal, what are they doing, the $1 million business owners doing that you're not yet doing? It's, probably several things, but really fundamentally, they've nurtured their roots, right? They got clear on their business foundations. And it didn't necessarily happen day one, month one, year one. But at some point, they got really clear on this stuff. And that has led to their future growth. So I would really like to work on getting that clarity for you. So let me go over the 5 days of the challenge. So day one today is we're going to talk about the confidence shifts that you need to make to earn more. Tomorrow, day two, is finding your people. These are, how to find your customers. Where are they? Day three is talking about what you do. I'm sure people ask you all the time, what do you do? What's your business? Having a really strong answer for that starts the conversation with them instead of, going on rambling, whatever it is, or not giving them enough information. Having the strong answer for that leads to further conversation and to sales. So that's day three. Day four is really about turning that interest, those people who are interested, into customers. So how can you flip that switch for them? And then day five on Friday, this is thinking about the plumber's mindset, I call it. So from the perspective of a plumber, what we can learn from them to help you reach your own big income goals. Okay, does that sound good? Ready to start? Okay, awesome. Okay, so day one, we're going to talk about confidence. And the reason I think this is so critical is we all know this, right? But sometimes it helps to hear it again. If you don't believe you can do it, you're not going to be able to do it. And I'm not talking about $1 million business owner. I'm not even talking about $50,000 a year business owner yet. What I'm talking about right now is, and again, you don't have to know how, but do you believe that it's possible for you? So let's start there. So we're going to do some exercises, and you can use your workbook for this. So the first one is actually all of them are going to be a little bit of reflection, and then we're going to do an I am statement for each one of these. So the first one is really believing that you have something valuable and unique to offer to the world. So when I say valuable and unique, you may think, well, I have other people do what I do, but you have your own way of doing it, right? You have your own personality, your own creativity that you bring to it, your own set of values, your own specific knowledge, and the way that you do things that's different from other people. Would you agree with that? Does that resonate? And so the I am statement is simply this: I am a successful business owner because I blank. So what is your unique thing, do you think? Like, I have specific knowledge, or I'm really good at this, or I'm so great with people, or I have empathy, or, I'm very talented in this one way, right? Like, think about it, write it down, and then I would love to have anybody who's interested share. We don't have to go around the virtual room or anything, but anybody who's interested, I would love to have you share what your I am successful business owner because I blank statement is. Okay, does anybody have any thoughts they want to share? Great. Nadira.
I can share. Nadira Mutala, my business is Wanderlust and Own. I create a fill her up experience for women to get together and engage in restorative play. And I'm a successful business owner because I am tapped into things that women often neglect for themselves, their attention to joy and pleasure. And I create an environment for them to do that without them feeling guilty about making time for that.
That's great. That's really good. That does definitely set you apart. I really like that, especially the fact that you're focusing on helping them not feel guilty. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Let me see if I can change the view so I can see gallery. Okay, great. Hannah.
Hi. My business is comforting care, and I care for elderly and disabled folks in their homes. And I think I am successful because I'm passionate about helping people, and I have a gift of knowing like what people need when they need it, and I just jump in, which helps people become at ease, and they don't have to ask for the help. Just insert myself in knowing what they might need.
I love that. And I think that probably helps people, as everybody has in America, I think has a hard time asking for help for things. And
Yeah.
so it kind of protects their pride
Mhm.
because you kind of just do it without them
Yeah.
having to ask. So that's lovely. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for doing that work. Anybody else want to share? Great, Jenny.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jenny. I have an HR consulting firm called Mustang HR. I think something that sets me apart is that I'm not afraid to ask the hard questions to business owners. So a lot of times I think when you have an employee that's within the business, they have a boss, they have a manager, it's hard for people to speak up, especially if it's not really a safe place. And so a lot of times when I start working with businesses, I am the first one to ask questions that have been on everybody's mind for a long time, but everybody's afraid to say it. And because I'm a third party HR consultant, I'm not afraid to ask it. The worst they could do is say, we don't want to work with you anymore, that would suck. But I think being able to just say, hey, has anyone ever thought about this? Sometimes it just opens the door to being able to see outside the box and come up with solutions that people might have in their brains. They're just not that space to speak it or to brainstorm and to feel safe in doing that. So I think just asking the hard questions is kind of my superpower.
That's awesome. And I think that you really put your finger on it when you said the safe space, creating a safe space to do so. That's really, really critical. People aren't, even if they're thinking about it, they aren't going to share if they don't feel safe.
Right.
That's great. I love that. Anybody else? Okay, let's go to the next one, which is here we are. This one is, if I take the first steps, the path will become clearer. I think, when I had my first business, and I mean, even in Aviatra, uh, you know, we have to get through the year with funding, right? And I don't have all the funding secured for all the year. So, but I just have to believe that the path will become clearer as I walk down the path. Does anybody else have any kind of mindset struggles? Just kind of raise your hand or whatever. If you think sometimes you're paralyzed because you don't know what to do about something. And so then you don't do anything. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. And so I think, it is sometimes that we're holding ourselves back there. Um, so just kind of thinking like what would happen if you just took those first steps? I mean, it when I say what would happen, like it could be something bad, right? Like maybe you do something and it doesn't go well and people start giving you a hard time, or you sort of, let's call it, fail publicly, even though I don't really believe that failure is a thing in this type of situation, because trying, I mean, we always have to try, right? um but I think thinking about it, giving yourself permission to be a little worried but then to do it anyway, I think is so important for us, especially as we're trying new things and we're building and we're putting things out into the world to see whether or not anybody wants to buy them. We have to do this, right? We don't know. We have to try. And so I would love for you to think about, I'm not afraid to take steps toward my goals because. What is that because there? And even if you are afraid, that's okay. Like part of you might be afraid and part of you is not afraid. Like let's tap into the part that's not afraid. Anybody want to share?
I'll share. Um, what your I can't say your line completely. I guess if I was to
Okay.
attempt your sentence completely.
Oh, you went mute for somehow.
Oh, I said if
Yeah,
I
there you go.
went to follow your sentence specifically, I would say I'm not afraid because the only guaranteed failure is not trying.
Oh, yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. So good, right? Like why not try? I love that. And acknowledging that the results might be not exactly what you want. But yeah, it's only a failure if you don't try. I love that. Thank you. Anybody else have any thoughts around this? Okay, let's go to the next one. So this is a thing that I personally have some trouble with. I want to be ideating and executing at the same time. And it doesn't work because ideation takes one side of your brain or one part of your brain, and execution takes another part. The big thinking is not down in the weeds, but the execution is in the weeds. And so I have to remind myself all the time, I can't do these both at the same time. I have to do them in turn. What is my new offer? Great. Decided that. Now, how am I going to execute that? How am I going to fulfill that, sell it, etc.? Does anybody else have kind of this two dueling priorities in their mind? So some strategies, focus, time blocking, capturing ideas. I mean, if you all could see my desk, you would be like, you have a serious Post-it note issue, which I do. I admit that. Every time I think of something that I don't want to lose, I grab a Post-it note and then here they sit until I eventually take them off and throw them away. So that's idea capture for me. Standard operating procedures are wonderful also. And so I'd love to kind of hear your own strategies and how you do this. Like, how do you separate those two things? Or if you do one of them better currently than the other, how you do that? Like, what are your strategies? Does anybody have any things to share on that? I would love to learn from you.
I made a video about this last week on
Ooh, perfect.
I was in between meetings. I was walking from a big strategy session where a mentor was giving me some guidance, but then I was going to do a whole lot of executional things in the afternoon, and I didn't want to lose some of the strategic thoughts that I had coming out of the session. So I download on using a voice memo. And I just talk to myself and give myself like the clarity around like, here's what I did, here's what I heard, here's what I thought, here's what I want to make sure I don't forget to do and follow up on so that when I do have time to go back and sit down at the computer and do some of that more strategic work, I haven't lost the kind of nuance and texture or forgotten it. And because I use ChatGPT as a partner to help me stay accountable on the progress, I upload that and that way, when I sit down, I have a to-do list already ready to export and work against.
I love that. What a great streamlined process. That's really good. I love that. I tend to try to turn things into spreadsheets instead of just talking to myself. I think it would make it probably better and easier for sure. Any other strategies? Yeah. Charmaine, using a 90-day planner is the best planner length for me. I love that. It allows me to have quarterly goals, but also a daily to-do list. Yeah. Yeah. A year-long planner is challenging, right? We do that at Aviatra. We have to plan out our whole year. But then I take it month to month. Like, okay, what's happening in March? Okay. Yeah. That's great. Okay, let's do another one. Let's get back to this. I think the biggest one for most of the women that I talk to, and I talk to women entrepreneurs every single day, is this struggle between, wanting to do it all yourself so that you could be like, I did it all by myself, and then knowing that's not possible, but then also a little bit of that nervousness about reaching out, who to reach out to, what are the resources available, and all of that. So understanding, I will tell you, you do not have to do this alone. Aviatra is here. There's so many other resources for you, so many support systems, membership programs, masterminds, meeting your business besties, right? And so I think, all of you coming on this call and sharing and having, your camera on if you are able to do that, that all is kind of building this community around of other women business owners who, also have big dreams, and we're working toward those dreams. And I love that. So here's the I am statement here. I'm aware I can't do it all alone, and that's okay. And so perhaps either talking about some of the things that you ask for help with, or how some of the things that you would like to ask for help with, I think would be great. Whether that's, outsourcing something, or coaching, or books that you read, or, courses, or, whatever it is. I'd love to hear what you are doing to get the help that you need, in addition to coming to things like this. Anybody want to share? Who has done coaching for themselves? Great.
Jill, I can share.
What about, pardon?
I can share.
Great. Thanks, Crystal.
I'm Crystal with Honeysuckle House. So I'm in the process of developing 2 residential assisted living and memory care homes in Fort Mitchell. And I think coaching is huge. Having mentors, having people who have done it before you is amazing and very helpful. But reading books about things, my education is more in healthcare, but reading books about finance and about profit first and the things you need to do to set up a successful business.
Yeah, I love that. Mentoring, coaching, and reading. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we sometimes get in our heads and think we have to make this all up ourselves. And we don't. I mean, I know you know that. And Martha, thanks for joining us. But we still get in our heads about it, right? Oh, I don't want to bother anybody, or I don't know who to reach out to. So kudos to you all for being here, because that's a great step. All right, we're going to go back to the slideshow. We're getting close to being done here for today. So I just kind of wanted to circle back around to the $1 Million Business Owners and talk about some of the things that I know they do. So one, they work hard. So do you all, right? So you've got that in common with them. They have set their foundations, and that's what this challenge is for. So you're going to move through these foundations for your own business. They don't try to see the whole path. The twists and turns that they have shared with me is really fun. And it's also, I think, comforting to know that they, how they envisioned their business day one and how it looks now with, $1 million plus revenue every year is pretty different. And they could never have envisioned that, how it ended up. So I think that's kind of freeing, right? It's kind of inspiring for sure, and kind of freeing. They have learned how to focus. A lot of them delegate, which is wonderful. And they also seek support. All of them have been through Aviatra's programs. They work with other accelerators or business coaches, mentors, experts. They take the classes. They, hire the support that they need. And so to become the $1 Million Business Owner, if that's your goal, I just wanted to show you, it's totally possible. Starts with today, with believing that you can do it, if that's what you want to do. Either way, even if you don't want to reach $1 million, having a successful business is absolutely possible. We see it every single day at Aviatra, every single day. So I know that you can do this, and I'm really happy that you're joining us for this challenge to set your foundations. And day 2 tomorrow, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about finding your people. That's so important, of course, because it doesn't matter how great your products and services are if you don't have anybody to sell them to. it's not going to be a successful business. So I'm looking forward to sharing some insights with you tomorrow and getting some insights back from you tomorrow. I would love to hear any closing thoughts or anything that anybody wants to share before we end for today. Do you feel that you needed some of this to hear some of this or to think about some of this? Yeah. Okay, good.
Absolutely. I think the I am statements are very helpful too, and it's a good way of reframing with it.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate that, Amy. Thank you. Yeah. Great. All right, ladies, this has been fun. Good introduction. Our minds are set. And, tomorrow we're going to dig in deeper. I'm really excited to be doing this with you. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.